Yo, group chat podcast. You know what I'm saying? Myself, S. Dot here. Z will be joining us momentarily. You know what I'm saying? He's changing his tampon right now, so we're gonna wait for. But yeah, man, we back. You know, what I'm saying? We had a couple weeks off. A lot of stuff been happening. You know what I'm saying? In the sports world and the entertainment world, just in the world in general. So we're gonna just dive right into it. The Breonna Taylor case in Louisville, Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? We're recording this on September 23rd at 8:20 p.m. And we heard the news that, you know what I'm saying, only one of the police officers who participated in her murder is going to be charged with anything. And basically, long story short, he's being charged with firing recklessly into the 3 apartments next to her. Nothing to do with her charges. So, Dot, man, what are you thinking, man? What's going on? Talk to me.
Man, it's just like, sad. It's disappointing. Like, I feel like everybody, like, how many days was it? Like 94 days or something like that. That, like, people have been like coming together, like, trying to use their platform as social media, celebrities, like, us regular people, just trying to do whatever we can to, like, bring light to the situation, just to kind of push the narrative that, like, this woman, like, this lovely woman, Breonna Taylor, deserves justice. And it's just kind of real, like, actually disappointing, hurtful, sad, just to kind of see, like, even after all that, like, no justice was served. And I just feel like, Kyle Rittenhouse, like, he actually a 17-year-old, like, white kid, and murdered someone, and, like, he was able to, like, walk past like police officers, and that kind of just sums it up, like, what people think of Black people in America. Like, I know it's not even, can't even say it's cliche at this point. It's just like, the proof is there. Like, look at the value of her life versus, like, someone else that's like of white, white skin. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy to see, and, like, but that's not going to stop my fight. I hope that don't stop anyone else's fight. We just got to keep pushing forward.
Absolutely. I feel like, we've been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah.
Going back to the Michael Brown killing in our group chat. And, as you get older, you know what I'm saying, your thoughts change, you become more mature, and you try to think through issues and try to, like, see it from every angle. Like, and I just keep coming back to the fact that, like, people think that racism is like someone dressed in like a Ku Klux Klan, hoodie, or someone that's just like, hail to Hitler. You know what I'm saying? They think that that's racism, and it is, but racism is just shown in such subtle ways, you know what I'm saying, in our everyday existence. Like, so police officers who consider themselves really good people, family men, family women, they don't understand that they just have this idea in their mind of seeing Black people and even brown people and certain, Asian people as threats, as less than, as not worthy. You know what I'm saying? So, racism isn't this big, ugly monster. It lives inside of people, and sometimes it's not even conscious, it's subconscious, or just like that thought, that little thought, like, I don't really know Black people like that. They don't even know what they see on TV, or what they see in a movie, or what they, or what they've been told. So now you're trying to police them and protect them, but you can't even do that because you have such a negative outlook on Black people.
No, that's a really good point you bring up. And, like, kind of like now that I've, like, gotten older and more mature, because growing up in high school, like, middle school, high school, I never really went to school with a white kid. Like, I could count on my fingers, like, how many white kids were, like, in my school. So I never really had that interaction until I got to college. And it's kind of like now, knowing what I know now, and, I research and having, like, certain experiences, it's like, like, certain stuff that I dealt with in college or heard in college, like, it wasn't okay. And that brings me back to your point, like, racism comes in different forms. Like when people found out, like, you know, for instance, I'm a light-skinned guy. Like, you know, if you know me, I'm pretty cool. Like, I'm always smiling, always laughing. Like, I don't give off any aggressive energy. One of my best friends, Anthony Weeks, the nicest guy in the world. Like, do anything for you, like harmless, like this doesn't promote anything about violence. Because he's of darker skin and because how his face may look without even getting to know him, they assumed certain things about him versus me. And then I've obviously, as you know, we're tall, like, you know, bigger black men, like we got the sport stereotypes and so on and so forth. So that's just kind of at that point.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, for sure. Welcome, Zine.
Welcome. I just want to apologize to America and the millions of people watching worldwide. You know, I was doing my daddy duties, baseball, man. You know, I wanted to take the black athlete off the field, but we're in tough times right now, so I had to keep them on just to show that support that, you know, we stick things through, man. So want to apologize to you guys. I'm excited. Miss you guys. I know a lot of changes is coming up for the podcast moving forward. But, you know, we'll keep that in the loop. Yo, Doc, keep it a buck. Was Jiggy talking spicy before I got on?
Nah. We started off with Breonna Taylor, so he doesn't know this yet.
Yo, don't you worry. We're gonna get there, and we're gonna let America know how you was ducking smoke for like a week. But we're gonna save that. So you know what I'm saying. Me and Sean been talking about the Breonna Taylor situation. You know what I'm saying. I would love for you to touch on that and get your perspective.
Yeah, honestly, it's a sad situation. I'll be totally transparent that I knew this was going to be the outcome. Honestly, I know it sounds childish to say, but just watching a lot of cop shows, a lot of Chicago This and Law and Order SVU, I knew someone signed off on it, and the law enforcement's only people in America that can make mistakes and get away with it. And this mistake took a life, and nothing warranted the aggressiveness into this household, and then just all the circumstances surrounding it, knowing that the people that they was originally looking for was already apprehended, in their custody already. I just want Breonna Taylor, I know she's not going to get the justice. I just want her to be remembered in a heroic light. And that's my biggest thing, is just more of, you know, I'm sad for the family. I'm sad for the surrounding people. I'm sad for the people in, you know, Louisville and dealing with that attorney general. And right now he is in a, I'm not going to go into his mindset and what he's trying to do, but I can just imagine all the ass kissing he had to do to get that position. All the...
He's like our age too.
Huh?
He's like our age. He's like 34.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, you know, being the first historical black person, I get all that stuff, and, you know, attorney general, but I can just imagine all the cooning he had to do to get that position. And I think he's in a position where he's fearful for his life. And what I mean by that is like the well-being of his life, because this Blue Lives Matter thing, it's detrimental what is going on. The fact that they're trying to equate Blue Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter, when Blue Lives Matter, that's a choice, right? And being black is not a choice. I woke up and came here August 17, 1986, and, you know, this is my complexion. I can't fight that. So I am not as taken back as a lot that I've been seeing on social media. The outpour is warranted, but I knew that over 400 years, African Americans been screwed by this justice system, and this is just another proof of this. And this is why I'm adamant to cops need to lose this immunity type situation. They need to be prosecuted just like a civilian, and it is what it is, man. So I always campaign that, say her name, but this is a tough situation, and it's unfortunate, and we just have to we just have to think about what's next. What can we do next? And at this point, I feel like as a community, we exhausted everything that we could do. But I think November, we have a huge opportunity to come out in drones to affect change, and use our right to vote to not only on the big spectrum of presidential, but just locally as well. And we need to take advantage of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think that one thing that people can do locally, you know what I'm saying, Rhode Island
Chronicles, man.
What is
We're
that?
live. We're live.
Josh froze.
Oh man, I
Oh,
froze.
did he? Sorry, man.
I'm back. One thing that we can do locally, because we're a Rhode Island-based podcast, you know what I'm saying, even though people from other states watch this, you know, there's a vote coming up, you know, in the next session that's going to talk about stripping some of the powers in the Rhode Island Police Bill of Rights, which is one of the worst ones in the country, which gives the police a lot of freedoms, a lot of immunity to just act how they want to act. So, you know, I've been speaking with some people who are on the same kind of time I'm on. I'm writing letters. My local congresswoman who just won the primary, Tiara Mack, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be emailing her daily, you know, just saying that, you know, this is something that I'm thinking about, and it's a priority for me. So, you know, if y'all can hear me, just, you know, Google that. I'll probably post it on my social media and just say, you know, how we can affect that kind of change.
Yeah, wait. Make sure you send that link to the podcast group chat. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
of course.
I need, like I said, my thing is, I know I'm just a small little piece to a large picture, but I'm at the point where I really want to make sure that I am continuously helping out any way, shape, or form. And even in, like I said, the work that we do, working with, you know, the younger generation, just continue influencing, man. I just want to put action behind my words, man. So make sure you send that through. And then when Josh posts it on his social media, yo, make sure you guys support that as well.
Yep.
So one thing I want to touch on is really quickly before we move to you know, to the next topic, is that Rhode Island Housing is offering first-time home buyers a loan with 0% interest and $10,000 down. So if you've been thinking about buying a home, buying a property, and you're not sure because you don't have the money to put down, or you're worried about the cost, this is a great opportunity. I'll be posting this on social media as well. I think I already did, but I'm going to repost it again. You know what I'm saying? This is just something that, you know, we've been stressing: ownership. And this is a good opportunity. And most of the time, you know, if you can get into a situation where you're already getting $10,000 down and you're already, you know, and you're getting 0% interest rate, it'll be cheaper to be owning a home and paying a mortgage than actually renting out an apartment.
Now, you know me, I'm just always a high skeptical guy with everything. I feel like everything has strings attached. So in you guys' opinion, why do you think this program came about? Is there any fine print? Like, well, what do you guys think the thought process in regards to that?
So they want to put, like, you know, money back into the economy. Like, they want people to buy property that helps kind of, like, you know, raise the level of the economy, to say. But the only, like, I looked into it too. The only thing I would say is that, and I don't remember exactly, but I know one of the big things is you have to be there a certain length of time. I believe, I don't know the exact years, but
5 years, I heard.
It's 3 to 5.
Maybe a little longer than that. But unless that's the only way you would have to pay it back, is if you left without, you know what I'm saying, before those years. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, it's just like a, you know, a $10K loan that you would owe if you did decide. And if you sold the house, and it's kind of like a win-win, because if you did use that and, like, you did renovations, you actually sold it more than what you bought it for, and you didn't have to put a down payment. You can easily, like, you know, just pay that loan off if you did decide to, like, you know, sell the house.
I like that. And I like that whole 660 credit score as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't lie. I'm an old head, but I just finally matured up a couple of years ago. I've been working on my credit. So I'm excited about that. But no, if it's no strings attached, and I definitely get it, trying to generate and keep the money in the city and the state, and promote ownership. I'm with the shits with that. I like that. I like that a lot.
So I'm gonna move us now to the entertainment portion of the show. Kanye West has been going hard about owning your masters, owning your masters, owning your masters. If you are a rapper, a singer, a producer, a musician, you should be owning your masters. And he tweeted out today that he'll be giving back. So because of this joint venture with Universal with Good Music is like Pusha T, it's Big Sean, it's Tiana Taylor. For a while,
Sky High to Prince.
So in Common for a while too. He said he's going to be giving back. So he has so he has 50% of their masters, and Universal has the other 50%. And Kanye said that he will be giving back the masters to all of those artists. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm kind of indifferent on Kanye. Like, I feel like I've kind of see through him. So, like, this is what Kanye does. Like, he, like, kind of wants, like, public support. Like, he wants to, like, put that pressure on, like, Sony and Universal. But he knows he can't do it by himself. So, like, the white people that, like, support him, or, like, the white people that attention that he was trying to get when he was going on this whole, like, MAGA campaign, they weren't there. So then he comes to the black community, starts speaking all this, like, I'm woke, like, you got to own your stuff. I'm tired of being done wrong. And he knows that, like, black people, if you know anything about black people, we are very forgiving people.
Yes.
He knows that, like, that'll be something that we want to hear. It sounds good, and we'll rally up, and it'll create a buzz. So, I mean, with Kanye, I would like to see, like, action put into place before I hear all this talk. It sounds good, but I'm interested to see how much of it he actually follows up with. And if he does, that'll be like, I think like Big Sean said today, that'll be like, a great thing for a lot of those artists.
Yeah, I like your vibes, Dot, in regards to that, and I agree. I'm gonna take it a little different approach on it, and just more of, I think this year everyone is just waking up and just seeing the importance of African Americans just excelling and not accepting and going against the norm and going against the quote unquote machine. And obviously, I know if people do not know, like, masters basically mean like the record company owns the sonic rights to everything you create, you produce, your beats, your mixers, if it can be used in a TV commercial, if it can be used for a soundtrack for a movie, like, they own all that, and you go into those businesses with that, so you can get the royalties, and you get the upfront money and stuff like that, and they're in that business. And now with the internet and social media, a lot of artists are like, man, I don't need the labels anymore. And as, I don't know, maybe I'm the only Taylor Swift fan in this joint, but she is going at it with her old record company, where she can't even play songs from her first 5 albums. Mm-hmm. One of her biggest tracks, 1989, she can't even perform it. And honestly, they went, the record company was the big machine. They went into business with Scooter Braun, who's the manager for Justin Bieber and Ariana. So it's just like, it's everywhere. And I bring that up.
It's not just hip hop.
Genre. It's just not only hip hop, right? You know what I mean? So it's trying to get the upper hand with these record companies. And the only reason why I kind of like Kanye West doing it, and I definitely agree with you, Dot, that I know he has some underlying tactics to it. And he's only doing, why I'm happy that he's doing it, because he's a big name. He's somebody that can puff out his chest and actually talk that cash shit, because he has the records behind it. He has the numbers behind it. And, I know he wants to get to a financial security, just like Beyonce. She owns her masters. Even Chris Brown owns his own masters. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of this, I want to own, I want to be, in the sense of what Joe Budden's trying to do with his podcast. And I don't want to know, I want to own my rights, my name. So I respect it, but you're right. It's always something fishy in the end game with Kanye West, where it's just like, you know, what we did with Kyrie. You know what I mean? We shoot the messenger, even though there is some legit thought process behind it. But, you know, who is coming from is where I'm just like, he's right. But, man, I wish Hove said this, which Hove, you know, did a good thing of buying back his masters. I know Nas spoke on this on Drink Champs with Nori about, you know, his first 4 albums, and this is why in the prime of his career, he was just putting out stuff that he knows he wasn't really confident behind just to get out this deal. So, yeah, you know.
Absolutely. One thing I'll say is like this. So one thing that I learned early, I remember I went to my freshman year in college, I went to a panel and there was an entertainment lawyer and she represented a bunch of like mid-tier rappers. And she said that basically your CD, at the time it was CDs, so your album is just an advertisement for your concerts because you're not making any money off the album. So everyone's deal is, you know, is different. There is a standard deal that everyone gets, but like, for instance, Charlamagne the God brought this up and I went deeper and did research because I had always heard that Michael Jackson bought the Beatles masters. So in the prime of his career in the 80s, Michael Jackson heard Paul McCartney from the Beatles talking about, hey, like I'm thinking about buying back the masters. So Michael Jackson actually beat him to it and bought the Beatles masters, which was part of, you know, so basically the Beatles masters was the hook to get someone to buy this big publishing masters company. And Michael Jackson I think he spent $45 million cash and brought this big thing. So Michael Jackson, for the most part, owned half of the masters in the music industry at the time of his death. And Sony and one of the other subsidiaries owned the other half or like owned it with him. Michael Jackson died in 2009. Since he's died, his estate has brought in almost $3 billion because they own the masters to so many artists. And Michael Jackson, you know, one of his biggest influences was Little Richard, you know, who really got the rock and roll started, the pop star stuff started. And he hand-delivered the masters of Little Richard back to him. And he did that with a few other artists too, where he has so much respect for them, he would just give it to you on the muscle. So that just shows how profitable owning masters can be.
Yeah. No, it's the reason why they want to keep it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No record label just being like, hey, let me give over my profitable assets. Like, you know what I mean? So it goes
One
hand
thing
in
I want to say is, though, Zine, is that, you know, the labels do a lot of shady things. You know, big business is big business, and there's shady, underhanded dealings all the time. But a lot of times, you know, we think about these artists and like, yeah, they don't need the label. But in actuality, they kind of do because, like, you know, listen to the Joe Budden podcast and other podcasts about music. They always talk about when they push the button on you, that's when you go. So, like, you know, so they said Meg Thee Stallion was at a certain level, but once Sir Lucian Green said we're gonna push the button on her, she like took off. Then, like, you know, the Migos had everything rocking and rolling because Sir Lucian Green and QC pushed the button to get them really, you know what I'm saying, into that next level of stardom. And now they're doing the same thing for Lil Baby. And that's where the beef.
Yeah, but that's my thing is like, and this is why, you know, we get into a lot of like arguments in the chat. It's just like, yo, at the end of the day, and that was like twofolds and why I brought up Taylor Swift. So first of all, it happens in all genres.
Yes.
Obviously, our algorithm, we're just seeing hip hop, so we're looking at these disgruntled hip hop people, and you know me, I hate when the QCs of the world, the Babies of the world, the Diddies of the world, Jermaine Dupri's of the world, they get looked at as evil guys where they're getting this blueprint from the real big machines and the Sonys and the Universal Music, and you know, it's been going on for years, and then it always just looks like black on black crime or we're doing the black man dirty. Like, no, you know, we're actually giving you a fairer shake than, you know, what the counterparts would have done if you would have went to another label, but still in the sense of clout chasing, we'll give you a car, we'll give you this, we're in your videos, whatever the case may be. We pump it like, at the end of the day, I don't care what no one says, like Diddy and the QC of the world, they promote as if it's their own music. Like, you know what I mean? They put passion.
But that's what I feel like.
Besides somebody sitting in the back just pressing a button. Does that make
sense? But I feel like that's what makes it wrong.
Yep. Go ahead, Sean.
At the end of the day, I get it. I get it's business, but what's the dude's name? He has like the accent. The white dude. He used to be with Def.
300.
No, Leo Cohen.
Yeah, Leo Cohen. Yeah.
Like Leo Cohen, you know who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know his agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy, QC, or whoever else, Birdman, they're partying with you. They're your friend. They're attending your child's parties. They're like act like they have this close relationship with you. When in reality, they're if you were to say like, hey man, do you decide if you want? Can we renegotiate things or can we do it this way? They're never going to do it because they're never going to be able to profit off you the way that they are now. So is that really, what is that? Is that really a friendship, or you know what I'm saying?
Nah, like you make valid points.
Hold on, wait. Let me take a step further, Doc. So speaking of Puffy, we all know Puffy is, known for being a shark and stealing this and stealing that and not paying this guy for this. But, Kevin Liles and Joe Budden were talking and they said that 112 wanted to get off Bad Boy really badly. So Def Jam bought them out and brought them over to Def Jam. And that they were in the studio and Kevin Liles was going by listening to their music and he's like, what the hell is this? And he said Diddy pulled up. He still had a decent relationship with them and said, oh, you thought that all this magic was them? He said, this is me. He said, I put this together. He said, but good luck to you guys.
And I get that. And I get that. You know what I'm saying? Like the grass ain't always greener on the other side. But I can understand why certain relationships was turned sour. Like to us as the fan, we would think that Puffy and Biggie was best friends.
Yes.
And that probably wasn't even the case. It was a very good business relationship. And I'm sure just because I love the locks, I love everything like, Jadakiss, Styles P, even Sheik Luch. And I kind of listen to things they say and how they talk. And the biggest thing that I got from what kind of made Bad Boy go sour was he was making them do certain things as far as the glamorous stuff when they wanted to kind of remain street rappers. And that was like a big thing. That a lot of people think that Biggie wanted to transition into that guy, but that's not who he wanted to be. He wanted to remain kind of like the hardcore rapper. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just easy to manipulate, and that's a good attribute on Diddy's part to be able to tell that like, yo, me and this dude were like brothers.
Yeah, it's like so.
I definitely
these artists, man. It's so interesting. Like we look at like sports, and we're like, yo, we know that if a player gets drafted to San Antonio, to Miami, to other franchises, like yo, they're gonna reach their potential. Like whatever their potential is, they're gonna definitely reach it. Whereas when they go to other franchises, we know like, ooh, I don't know, like he's gonna not do good in Sacramento. He's not gonna do good in Phoenix. He's not gonna do good in XYZ place. So
no, you guys make valid points, and I definitely get the dynamic of like, damn, when I come to the table, why can't we do X, Y, and Z? And it does look shady, and I think that's where the emotional rants come into place, and they want to smear campaign you. But like I said, I just feel contract's a contract. You honor it as long as you're not doing shady businesses. You sometimes have to look in the mirror in regards to who you partnered up with, who's your lawyer, who's your representation, what you come to the table with. That's why when I was listening to Joe, I'm like, all right, Joe, so you're telling me you created this contract with Spotify when you first got there, but now you're upset with it.
Yep.
And then now you're comparing your number. It's just tough. And I just feel like, once again, I'm going back to, this happens in all genres, but it looks like it happens in hip-hop a lot when it really is across the whole music board. Even actors in their contracts with movies and all that. So it's all so the moral of the story is, make sure you know what you're signing. Make sure you know what you're getting into and what you're committed to. Because at the end of the day, if I say, hey, Doc, here's 10 bands right now. You blow up, becoming the best basketball coach you can be because you was able to get this facility and all this balls and able to recruit and put money in the kid's pocket. And I have some type of percentage from that, and we have that agreement. Because you blow up and we're cool and we talk every day, you feel like you have the obligation and right to come back to the table like, all right, Zim, I know we agreed to 50%, but as you can see, I'm the man right now. You're in the back, and I kind of need 70%.
So let me ask you this. So let's take it outside of music, right?
Yep.
Let's say you're an assistant principal right now, dean of students, and let's say we have this thing at Brown that we're rolling out for like internal, where we want them to like, take control of their career. So let's say, for instance, you go get a certification, you go get a master's degree, but you agreed a year or two later, you know what I'm saying? Like, your offer letter that you signed was for X, Y, and Z amount of money. But now you've learned a little more about the business. You've went and became a professional and mastered it. So you're not allowed to go back to your supervisor and say, hey, like, I've done X, Y, and Z. I'm looking for like a renegotiation of like this offer letter, or I'm looking for a specific raise. That's the same case with music. If you do better and you master something, you're not going to just say, I'm going to work and let you do everything that we agreed on from day one. You're going to go and you're going to try to negotiate for yourself. That's business with anything.
You got me with a nice analogy, Jiggy. Your boy came a little witty off his cuff because I need my
In
money.
a few weeks, man, I got to sharpen up a little bit.
So let me spin that forward into one of our topics, and we want to talk about the Joe Budden Podcast Network and the Charlemagne Podcast Network. So we could talk about, Joe Budden was disgruntled with Spotify, not for his original contract. So I think that's a little unfair, where they outperformed their contract by 900%. And if you remember, when they first signed, they were the first podcast to sign an exclusive deal with one of the DSPs, right? So he's not saying like, hey, rip this contract up and pay us this. He's just saying that when they were negotiating the next one, he felt insulted because they had outperformed. And I think the biggest thing and the problem that he had with Charlemagne was, he's like, hey, we were a test case. We were the first ones to come over and do something exclusive. They got paid well for it. But now that they've driven a lot more people to your platform and they've shown you that this can be profitable, so now you bring in Bill Simmons' whole network. You bring in Joe Rogan. You bring in a lot of other people. You're going to pay them this when we've outperformed and we think we're worth that. So what Joe Budden was talking about, where I think that he had one really good point, was I did not know what iHeartRadio was until the Breakfast Club was on it. Mm-hmm. We were like the front men at the iHeartRadio Awards doing all the interviews. So basically, really, like, the Breakfast Club is driven by Charlemagne. So Charlemagne is helping break this big network and make it mainstream and make it popular. So not only is he doing that, but he has the #1 show on it. So all Joe Budden was saying, like, hey, you've basically opened up this new territory for something that we even know existed. You could have, A, done this yourself, or B, get partnership in that company. So I think that's where, like, a little bit of the disconnect comes. And the last thing I'll say before I just, let you guys just jump in, is that Joe Budden talks about how the music business has been like this since the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. Podcasting is a new thing. They have, some of the talent has the ability to kind of have a hand in writing the rules on how to get paid, to make sure talent and podcast artists don't get screwed over like how music people do. So I think that was his big thing. So I'm gonna let y'all take it. We saw the announcement today, Joe Budden Podcast Network. Last week with Charlemagne. Happy for both those guys.
Where's that Joe Budden Podcast Network? What platform is it on? Or?
Basically, he's making it so basically it's like, the way that I'm viewing it is, Charlemagne was given a a little piece of iHeart. They're saying, hey, blow out our podcast network. Whereas Joe's saying, this is my company, and we're going to contract out to all the other DSPs.
Okay. So either Spotify, Apple, Tidal, whoever wants to pick it up, YouTube. Okay. All right, that makes sense. I get what you're saying. And I like his little logo that he came up with. I was actually kind of impressed, that little JP. I just view this as, I understand where Joe's coming from. And Joe and Charlamagne, they always been taking stabs at each other. But this is just more about who's the bigger man right now. They're sword fighting right now. And it's kind of like, oh, all right, I hear both of you guys. You guys are both great at what you do. And I understand where Joe is coming from in the sense of, you know, he said it too, like, hey, listen, there was a couple of times where I was like, man, F this, but, you know, I talk to prominent people, you always just fill out your contract. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that was his thought process and mindset to do so. And I thought he had a lot of legit, valid points in regards to why he wants to leave that platform. My only thing is have a backup plan, which he did, the Joe Budden Network. Now, what Charlamagne is saying, like, hey, when he says this whole notion, is not what you deserve, is what you negotiate. And that's been the theme for the last 2.5 weeks. And I think his premise with that statement is more of, I know I'm worth $100 million, but if I am looking for somebody else to see my value, I'll be highly mistaken, right? I have to go in there with my X's and O's, numbers and facts, and see how much I can get from an entity that will be paying me. And I think he's comfortable knowing that I put iHeartRadio on the map, and I am going to go partner with them 50% of this network. What did he call it?
It's the Black, but it's the Black Effect Network. But I don't think because like from what I understood, a lot of those shows are already there.
Right, but he's bringing it to a
different audience
platform for iHeartRadio in a division that they're trying to open up, and he gets to be the director of it and get 50% profits of all these shows that already existed. So basically what I gathered from his little spiel on the show is he's putting all these different things and putting it in one place where minorities can go and search for it. And that does sound profitable as well if he does it right. And I think, you know, they're both right. But once again, it was a lot of sword fighting. And I'm just looking at these two, like, while the other people up top, like puppeteering. And that's truly how I feel about it.
Yeah, so just because of what, like, I don't really watch the Joe Budden podcast as much as I watch, like, the Breakfast Club and, like, you know, Charlamagne's podcast. So I catch snippets here and there, or when you guys send something, I tend to, like, look into it. But I just think that it's, like, two different perspectives. Like, some people go with this idea, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to own, like, you have to be your own man. You have to work for yourself. And that's nice, you know, and I will never take anything away from that, but that's not for everybody. Like, some people are okay with, yeah, I'm going to work for this company. I'm comfortable this way. They're going to pay me X, Y, and Z amount of dollars, and they'll take care of what I need them to take care of, and I'll be able to do my job. And that's fine too. So I just think it's just, like you said, it's like a little sword fight going on between them. But what I felt like See the God was trying to say, and like kind of, I forget now, I lost train of thought if it was Josh or Zim that brought it up. Like, you're right. When you go into any job, like, you know, they have like a max amount that they can pay you, and they have the number that they're going to offer you. Like 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get that, like, you know, max amount unless you really have like stuff to prove that you're worth making this money, you know, because at the end of the day, it's business. It's not like they don't care like, oh, all your accolades and what you did. They care like what's going to be the most profitable for them or what's going to be within their budgets for their company. So what I think See the God was trying to say, like, all right, cool, we get what you're trying to say, but it's a way to do it. Like the way you're going about it, the way you're like saying things, and like, yes, you may be correct, but like, you know, acting like that, that's not going to make anybody want to pay you. So I think that's kind of the message that he was trying to get across.
And Josh, before you go, I apologize. I know you
go.
But I two things. And I get what Charlamagne's saying by that, because I was like, just like, damn, Joe, take it easy, because you're run telling that all the business, all the innuendos. So if I'm a business, I don't want to, you know, quote unquote, say lay in bed with you, knowing that you're gonna pillow talk and say about everything and details in regards to that. That's tough. And you know, when this whole ownership mentality started, and where it really blew up, it was Dame Dash when he went on the Breakfast Club and was talking all that cash stuff about you're a worker, you're a worker, you're a worker. And to me, downplaying somebody who has a job, or just like how you alluded to, you know, Sean, like, no, not everyone could be an owner. And if you excel and take care of your family and do what you need to do in a position, maybe working under somebody, growing under somebody, learning from somebody, and still profiting, there's no shame and gripe into that. And I think that's where Dame and Joe Budden, you know, miss me with all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense of, you're not worthy, or you're not a man, or you're not a real podcaster if you don't own it, and someone else has a little percentage of it.
Let me ask this. So I think Dame Dash is to the extreme.
Well, you remember that? You remember
that? Before you go there, Josh, before you make that point, so I want to say, like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks, I tweeted, like, keep listening to Dame Dash and Kanye if you want. Like, basically, like, see what happens. Yeah. So a lot of people, like, kind of responded to it and was like, what do you mean? Like, they preach ownership. And I was like, I get it. They're talking ownership. Like, you know, what they're saying isn't factually wrong for the most part, but I'm saying that for the average person, for you to attack a situation in a way that they're telling you to attack a situation, like, one, you're probably going to end up jobless or a door closed in your face. So it's like you have to, like, be able to, like, take from it and assess, like, what exactly they're saying.
Yeah. Like, yo, I feel like a lot of these people, they look at, like, a Dame, a Kanye, a Jay, a Joe Budden, a Puffy, a Master P, and they're like, yeah, I want to be like that. But they don't understand that to get to that point, you, like, these men are not regular. Like, Oprah, like, she's not regular. Like, you know, this is like they're they're operating at the optimum level. Whereas, like, you know what I'm saying, you sit in your house and play PlayStation all day and talking about you want to own something. Like, that's not how it works. And Dame Dash, I think the thing that Dame Dash is guilty of that maybe, like, Joe, Kanye, and Puffy and the rest always address is that you have to start somewhere. Someone gives you your start. You know what I'm saying? Like, Puffy learned from Andre Harrell, started to act.
RIP to him.
Harrell fired him. You know what I'm saying? So I do agree with you on that point. The one thing I really like about what Joe is doing is that he's talking about being able to set the market. Because like, when it comes to music or movies or sports, a lot of the market is set, but this podcast thing is something new. So what he's upset about is that they're bringing that same music slave mentality into the podcasting world, and they're like, and he's like, yo, like, I know I'm worth X, and Joe Budden has the money and the leverage to go somewhere else where a lot of us wouldn't. So, you know, that's why, you know, listen, I would love to be in Charlamagne's position, a well-paid employee, and I'd love to be in Joe's position. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? There's two ways to skin a cat. You know what I'm saying? There's many ways. So, salute to both them guys. But now to the reason why we're really here. Let's talk about these NBA Western Conference Finals. Right now, the Boston series is 2-1. Miami's on top of Boston. And after game 3, the Lakers are 2-1 against the Nuggets. Fellas, let's start with the Heat Celtics series and then mosey on to that Lakers Nuggets series. What are your thoughts about the Heat Celtics series? Who's gonna win?
I want the Heat to win, but I feel like the Celtics are going to win. I mean, I'm just surprised by the Heat, man. Like, I don't know. November, nobody saw this. Even All-Star Weekend, I don't think anybody saw, like, the Heat being in the like a chance to play for a finals. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. I kind of like this team. Like, they have everything. Like they have a star, they have bigs, they have shooters. Their rookies have like Tyler Herro, and we haven't seen much of none in the playoffs. But I'll consider Duncan Robinson pretty much like a guy just getting to that level. Like they've grown up and they're playing like men out there. So it's kind of nice to see like how far they could take this run.
Just for entertainment purposes, I really want to see the Celtics. Just because, we'll get to the West, but I got the Lakers, obviously doing what they need to do versus the Nuggets. And then just having that Boston Celtics rivalry, just another version of it, historical aspects of it. To me, the Celtics is one consistent big man away from being a real formidable team. Because to me, they have 4 guys that can go get you 20. They have a great coach, my friend Brad Stevens. We chilled on many occasions. I'll never let that go. But I agree with Dot. The Miami Heat is just an X factor. And people said it in the beginning of this, and I think, Josh, you was a big component of this. Like, in this bubble setting, it's going to be a weird team that's going to come out and just continue to win. And I think that weird team is, even though they're talented, is the Miami Heat. I think the X factor of deciding who's going to go to the finals is Bam Adebayo, my Nigerian brother, Idris. All right? And he's the factor because the Celtics have nobody to contain him, and if he dominates and does what he needs to do, he's going to be in perfect position. But my preference is I want the Celtics, but I think it's going to be the Miami Heat.
Okay. I really like the way the Heat are playing, man. I think they're playing great, but I do think that over a 7-game series, the best team will win. The Celtics have a lot more talent. Granted, it's a lot of young talent. Man, this is almost a pick 'em for me. I do think that Boston probably wins the series. I'm 51% in their camp. I think Hayward coming back helps eat up some of those minutes that was going to Semi Ojeleye. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Boston, I think it's their time. If Tatum and Jaylen Brown can stop acting like Kobe and Shaq with each other, I think that they could definitely make a nice run and make a run at the championship.
This dude Doc got like 20 different light fixtures going on.
No lie.
I was feeling the club setting when you had that shining.
I just put the LED lights on.
Yeah, I'm like, if I had Molly, I would have been tripping right now.
So, I had the Celtics game on earlier. I'm like, I'm gonna put this Celtics green on.
That's hilarious. But no, I agree with you. And honestly, a big difference and people's not talking about, we got 2 great coaches. Obviously, Spo is with more accolades and, to me, more experience in this setting. Brad is just getting his, no, actually, this is Brad's 3rd Eastern Conference Finals when I think about it. So, 2 experienced coaches, that's going to be another X factor on who does what. But my thing is, I always believe in system over talent when the talent levels is always there. And to me, Miami Heat got a better system that maximizes where I feel the Celtics go a little bit too much ISO ball 3rd quarter, and that's why they lose those leads. Because if you're on, you're on. You're cooking, you look good, you make highlights, you're on Bleacher Report and House of Highlights. But when you're off and these ISO ball ain't working, what's going on? So we'll see. I got Miami Heat winning in 7.
Now let's talk about the Western Conference. So, those of you not familiar with this group chat, our group chat has been a war zone all NBA season long. Clippers, Lakers, Clippers. Kazim is a I don't know how to put it, a Spurs, Raptors, Clippers team in the league.
Well, I can introduce myself and what I am.
Oh, okay.
Down hard San Antonio Spurs fan, and I'll always be. Shout out Tim Duncan introducing himself to me. Pause at Wake Forest. I seen that little swimming special from the Virgin Islands, and I was hooked since then. But Kawhi Leonard is my favorite player, and as everyone knows, he was drafted to the San Antonio Spurs. I was able to enjoy his talent, and I was devastated when things transpired afterwards, but you know, he did what he had to do, and I'm just supporting him as an individual player. So yes, when he's on the Raptors, I was supporting him, and yes, when he went to the Clippers, I was supporting him in the midst of still having my fanatic for the San Antonio Spurs. And shout out Russell Westbrook too.
This guy is like the Rainbow Coalition. He loves everybody. Doc, what happened to the Clippers? Why didn't we get to LA versus LA matchup?
I feel playoff P, man, came up small, pandemic P. What's his name? I just feel like we didn't get like Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams. Like I feel like whatever happened from when the NBA ended to when it restarted again, they weren't the same players. And I just think that Doc Rivers got out coached. Shout out to the Denver Nuggets. Like there's no excuse. Like they outplayed them. They out-hustled them. They executed better. You know what I'm saying? Their stars showed up when it mattered the most. So, that's just something the Clippers going to have to, take a look at and digest and figure out moving forward. Very disappointed. Wanted to see the Clippers-Lakers. I had the Clippers in 6 over the Lakers going to the finals, winning the championship. I was ready for, the Clippers to finally make their first ever Western Conference Finals. So, I'm just I ain't been the same since they lost, man.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. I'll let you, why you think they didn't make it, then I'll follow up.
I think that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both great players. Obviously, Kawhi is better than Paul George. I do think that sometimes, we look at so we see that, Bron is fading, in terms of he's not in his prime anymore. How many more good years does he have left? And we automatically want to just that best player, not you can't be the best player in the league, but there is levels to being the best player in the league. So you look at when Shaq was in his prime, when Kobe was in his prime, when freaking Dwayne Wade and LeBron, these guys were in their prime. I don't not saying that Kawhi couldn't be the best player in the league. I think that people gave him a little too much, they were a little too far with it. When I think both championships that he won, so we'll talk about the Spurs one where he was the Finals MVP, but he really wasn't the best player on the team. You know what I'm saying? He averaged 13 points a game that season. Even in the playoffs, he was very up and down. He had a few good games in the finals. So who do you give it to? You know what I'm saying? You give it to Tony, Manu, and Duncan are splitting that kind of vote. So people say he has 2 Finals MVPs, but all right. Then you have the series where the Raptors beat the Golden State Warriors. And I'll never take his championship away because I don't do that. But people act like he stormed into Golden State and took down KD, Steph, Clay, and Draymond when injuries did play a factor. So just the same way people will look at Golden State's first championship and be like, Kyrie was hurt, Kevin Love was hurt. We have to give that same kind of energy to Kawhi for winning that championship. So I think that his value was higher than his actual production on the floor. So people got kind of tricked into thinking that he's the best guy in the league. He's a machine. The Clippers are going to just turn it on. But if you look at the Spurs and you look at the Raptors, 2 great organizations. And the teams that he were on were so veteran-laden, so battle-tested, and great from the GM on down to the coaching, to everything in the organization. So you come to the Clippers, and that's not the same kind of organization, and they kind of crumbled a little bit when things started to go sideways.
So
Oh, my guy Kawhi averaged 29 points in the playoffs.
What do
8
you average in that
rebounds.
series though?
In the series, he added 31 points, John.
I don't think so. Not
Google it. It's right there in front of you. Look in that Nugget series. Google it right in front of you. All right. And then come back to the podcast with that number.
But keep on going.
So, a couple of things. It's like when you fantasize about a girl, you want that girl, you do everything to get that girl. You train, you get the haircut, you get the designs, you do everything. And when you finally almost near that girl, you American Pie yourself. And that's what happened to the Clippers. All they thought about was the Lakers. We're up 3-1. These guys are just going to fold. They're going to crumble. We're up 19. We're up 17. We're up 13 in the second half. They're eventually going to go away, and you got to give the Nuggets credit. The flaws with the Clippers is they don't have a legit big man that can score in the post. Zubac is slow-footed, and we don't have a playmaking guard. Pat Beverly is not a guard. I thought Reggie Jackson should have got more tick during that series. And, you know, your savior can't be JaMychal Green. And I think that's what the Clippers try to do. So there's a lot of flaws, and not for nothing.
So I'm gonna stop you. During the Nuggets series, Kawhi averaged 24, 9, and 6 on 44% shooting from the field and 36% shooting from three, 87% from the front.
That's not bad numbers.
It's not
bad numbers, but it's not.
And those last 2 games of under 20 kind of hurt him.
Right. Because I know at one point I remember that he was averaging like 30-something. Yeah, you know.
But then the games, like, you know what I'm saying? Not for nothing. Like, them the games you gotta have.
And I'll say this. It's unfortunate. Like, you know, there's no excuse for Kawhi. Like, you can't blow it. Like Curry got it. Like, you can't blow a 3-1 lead. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
As far as Kawhi in that first Finals MVP, like, I don't believe he was the best player in the Spurs in 2014. But if you look at that, and I was locked in that final series because I've never kind of been a LeBron guy. And when they won in 2013, I was like, I'm so happy getting their revenge. So when you looked at that finals, it was like what he was doing defense. Like, and we always talk about LeBron average X, Y, and Z on percent shooting. But if you really watch the series, it's like, yo, like he's really making LeBron uncomfortable. Like, this is the only guy I've ever seen really been able to, like, physically been able to slide with LeBron, and he's not able to, like, you know, just strength his way to the basket. And he was scoring and he was dunking and he was doing things that's like, wow, you kind of understood why he got a Finals MVP. Fast forward a little bit when Tim Duncan and those guys started to get a little older, he takes over the Spurs. Like, he's the clear-cut best player. And up until that time when he hurt his ankle against Golden State, he's like playing like he's like one of the best players in the NBA. Like, and if you watch Kawhi play, and you're right in the sense of, like, you know, he went into Toronto and he won a chip, but he didn't beat KD, he didn't beat like a healthy Golden State Warriors. I'd say they're probably at like 50%. But if you just sometimes watching his game, it's like, it's not I don't even think the accolades of like saying what he's done, but watching him play, it's like, damn, this dude can't be stopped. Like, he's everywhere he wants. He's doing anything he wants. Like, his game is like I remember like Jordan and Kobe. Like, I didn't see much Jordan growing up, but like the highlights I saw, it's like, yo, this dude is poetic. Like, Kobe is like, damn, like this dude is just like playing the violin as he's trying to score. And it's kind of the same with Kawhi. So I think that's where it comes from. But
I think that Kawhi is like, even though he's in his prime, he don't have the athleticism, like that burst that Kobe and Mike had when they were in their prime. Because if you, like, I can see some comparisons in their games, but older Kobe and older Mike, not saying washed up Mike or Kobe, but like Kobe and Mike were like two like rare athletes. So
yeah,
so I think that's part of Kawhi's weakness, is that he's strong, but when he needed to get to the basket in those series, in those games, he kind of couldn't.
I disagree. So I feel like there was never like, and I agree with you to the point. Like, I don't ever think he was the athlete by any means that Kobe and Jordan was. Like, Kobe used to do some.
He's still a very good athlete.
Yeah, that you're like, damn, like that. How did he even end up dunking that? But I think as far as like the way that he goes about scoring, like you say, prime Kobe, you know, it's older Kobe.
Yep, older Kobe. Yep.
But like looking at Game 7 and Game 6, there was no shot that I was like, I'm like, damn, that goes in. Like this has to be like some of the worst luck he's ever having. Like every other game I've watched him take that shot, it's cash.
Cash money, yeah.
It was like kind of spinning out, and that's why I was like so frustrated. It's like, yo, I've watched this dude make this shot 8 out of 10 times, and finally the 20% that he doesn't make it is happening now. So that's
like, frustrating.
Sorry, real quick. Sorry for the interruption. This I can't lie. So you know how I react to things fast. LeBron James tweeted, "The most disrespected person on the earth is the black woman. I promise you, I'll do my best to change this as much as I can, and even more. Love to you, queens, all over this country and beyond." Black queen emojis, so many hearts. Mm-hmm. This is why I genuinely will go to bat for LeBron James. He just gets it. He reads the room, and I think it's sincere. I know, Sean, when we talk about media stuff, he is calculated after the games. But stuff like this, I feel it's sincere. And this is why, I can rest easy, besides Jiggy and Bobby going ham in the chat, if LeBron James win number 4 and number 5. Because to me, stuff like this is what strings my heart.
Yeah, that's a Malcolm X quote. So I'm glad he's reading that book and gaining that knowledge, man. And he has the platform to give it to his 40 million people on Twitter, his 80 million people on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I love it.
But back to the Clippers and Nuggets, man. I'm done talking about the Clippers. We blew it. Doc blew it. PG.
Yeah, I got one more.
Trash.
Do you think that Kawhi got a little tight because this is the first time where they were like the expected team to win the chip?
Nah, they didn't get tight.
So,
my guy don't. I don't mean nothing.
Go ahead,
Dot.
I never got that feel, but what I did see, and I wanted to take a picture, but the TV moved too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Jackson was on that bench sometimes looking heated. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just felt like maybe he was right in the sense of they had too many
guys.
Too many egos. Like, I remember Reggie Jackson's biggest thing about being in OKC was he didn't want to be a backup.
Mm-hmm.
Be a starter. He felt he could be a starter. And I don't think like a lot of those guys were ever able to buy in and be like, okay, like this is what we need to do to win. Like we need to take like Marcus Morris, like instead of like he's saying certain shit, like kind of like when J.R. Smith was on the Knicks, our only year of being good in like the last 10 years, he goes and wears the all-black funeral to the Celtics, and then we end up like going an extra game with them and then getting punished by Indiana. Like that kind of basketball karma comes back to you, and that's why I feel like that. If anything Kawhi lacks, I feel like that's what he lacks in the sense where a LeBron or a Kobe or a Jordan, they're gonna get you in line and be like, yo, we doing this, it's going this way. Let's all kind of be militant. Let's make sure we're on our shit. Let's stay focused. Whereas I feel like Kawhi will kind of make sure he's doing his job, but he's kind of like just observing everything, and he's not going to give his opinion on it, if that makes sense.
Right. And that's great analysis, Dot, and I agree. And I mentioned that in the chat. His flaw is a communication. Like I know a lot of people be like, what the hell? They're playing football when they're warming up. LeBron got all these handshakes. He got the powder stuff. They take the pictures. Like stuff like that builds morale. Like, you know what I mean? The stuff that Dame and CJ do on the court. Even, Westbrook and Harden with their gang signs and the affiliation type stuff. Like those things, little like things matters. And when Doc Rivers is looking at his team and talking about, I ain't got no speech for them, that's when Kawhi Leonard should have inserted himself and not PG. That's why people looking at PG like, man, go sit down. Yeah, you average 10 points.
But hold on. If PG's saying that and Kawhi's not saying anything, like PG's not the player that Kawhi is. And I think that PG suffers the most from having those strong bench players that Marcus Morris needs to shoot it. Lou Williams needs it. Montrez needs it. Whereas, like, there's so many games where, like, PG really can't even get going because if he starts off bad, then it's like, oh, we're going to go to Lou Will or we're going to go to this guy or that guy. So I can't fault PG for being like, damn, like, you're not going to say nothing, bro. But when you don't perform, you really can't.
Right, yeah, you can't.
So
And I don't think they respect
say anything.
I don't think they've ever respected PG, to be honest. So if you remember, like there was an argument. Trez said, "Yo, you think you're always right," and I think, like, you know what I'm saying. There was never. They had all the talent to win the championship. I'll never change my mind on that. But what I did notice, I feel like there was no
Chemistry,
no camaraderie amongst the team, no unity. Like, I feel like the only friends on the team was Morris, Lou Will, and Trez and Patrick Beverly. That was their little clique, and then everybody else kind of did their own thing.
But what it really was too, and what really got them on a heightened level of where really this shit, and I'm not even trying to be funny, was first of all, Pat Beverly shutting down KD for that quarter and a half, and he got all hyped, and that became a media phenom last year in that series, if you guys remember that. Them making that Slam magazine cover and all this nonsense, talking cash shit. And then on top of that, them thinking, oh, well, we took the Golden State Warriors full strength to 6 games. We add 2 superstars. It's just going to be easy. And they didn't want to put in the work. And then I'm not making excuses, but they was rolling before the COVID hit. Like a lot of teams was. Yeah, they took, yeah.
Now they was. They lost that one.
They was cooking. They lost to the Lakers, but they was cooking.
Josh, be honest. They were.
Yeah, they was cooking. They lost to the
Lakers. On that
streak,
yes. And they lost to the Lakers. That was their only.
Yeah, they was on a streak.
The Lakers were also on a big streak.
I said amongst other teams. I did say that. I said other teams.
All right, so here's my thing, right? I'm like, I understand that, you know, the bubble is different, but I mean, damn, bro, like, you was up in all the games, and I think that those arguments, oh, you think you're right, you think you know everything. I listened to a podcast where I'm listening to what went on behind the scenes during the Kobe Shaq Lakers, and that stuff goes on. You guys are
but they
all I'm saying that now it's just making it seem like it's a bigger deal because they lost. Honestly, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, then we'll move to something else. I think that the biggest culprit in this 3-1 losing is Doc Rivers.
Yeah, he never adjusted to that pick.
Don't stop.
He never adjusted to it. He never, like, same thing. Like, Jokic would get it on the post. They would go double him. Jokic is doing all these no looks to cutters or the Jamal Murray 3, and he never figured out how to stop that pick and roll. So yes, I'm gonna blame Doc Rivers for not adjusting to that, but also I feel like, man, you up a certain amount, man.
Yeah.
As a player, you got to take care of that.
Exactly, yeah.
They were getting, like, the Clippers, they were getting, like, the Nuggets were able to one and done them on offense. And I'm like, how are they doing this? You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's coaching. I don't know.
Yeah, what it is, like, everyone always wants to talk about adjustments, X's and O's. I mean, I think Doc's X's and O's are good, but it's like the tone you set where Doc is like, oh, we're not going to, you know, where that whole thing is, oh, well, you know, we don't really care about the regular season. We're going to load manage, blah, 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 blah. So then when you get in a situation where the team is coming back on you, you don't have anything to fall back on because you've been kind of like in and out during the whole season. That's just how I feel.
I can't dispute that because I had major issues with Doc. I had major issues with Doc in the information he was giving out to the media. Oh, we just didn't play with no heart. There's no rah-rah speech I can give at this point. These are not things that you say to the media. You say that for the whiteboard. Even I like, when the announcers said yesterday, the Lakers whiteboard said dodge the bullet after game 2. Even though they came out lackluster in game 3, but those are the things that you don't say that to the media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You talk up your team. So Doc, I never liked Doc.
Who do you guys think is the best player in the league?
Kevin Durant.
I know I get on him all the time. I know you guys always think I was capping when I started this campaign 3 days ago, but I also think Kevin Durant, a healthy Kevin Durant. And then number 2 is LeBron James. LeBron James, to me, sometimes, in my opinion, plays too cool for school. He thinks he approaches the game that he is smartest person in the room, and I can sense that from LBJ. Let me see what I want to do this first quarter. You know what? I'm gonna dish off. I'm gonna be a little peasant at first and not even take a shot attempt. Oh, second quarter, let me dominate now. And sometimes it works for him, sometimes it doesn't, but he's so great it works most times than not. So I'm gonna go with Kevin Durant, healthy, but playing, who actually played this year. LeBron James was the second best player to Kawhi Leonard that actually played this year.
Oh, this played? I gotta say Greek, man. Like I just don't get it, Josh. Like the man played 30 minutes. Like I had to go look at this 10 times. He played 30 minutes a game. He averaged 30 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. Like that's
30 minutes.
The game is 18 minutes that he didn't play. You know, the coach just played him 42 minutes a game. What he would do?
Yeah, I don't. I think that I'm not gonna put KD in it because I'm skeptical of how he's gonna come back at 32 from a torn Achilles. Hopefully, he comes back strong because I like KD, but I just have to see it with these 4 eyes first. I think that Greek Freak was the best player, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think that he's so dominant on both ends of the floor, and what happens is that all the writers and the analytics crowd will say Greek is the best, and like the eye test basketball people want to focus on LBJ. But I think that when you look at the Greek Freak, I don't see LBJ. I don't see Kevin Durant. I see Shaq. And Shaq was getting swept out the playoffs by Karl Malone and John Stockton, by David Robinson and the Spurs, until Kobe got to superstar level and he got Phil Jackson. So I think that in order for Greek Freak to win a championship, that the ball can't always be in his hands. He's not a natural. That's not his natural thing. He's just so talented that he'll get 5 or 6 assists by accident because the whole defense has to just collapse around him. And the difference between a LeBron James or a Kevin Durant or a Steph Curry, where they're at in their careers, and even Kawhi Leonard, because of the load management, even though he's 28, 29, Greek Freak is 25, and he plays all 82 hard, both ends. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, in a playoff series, I would want LeBron James, or I would want Kevin Durant, or I would want Kawhi Leonard. But for an 82-game season, the Greek Freak is able to, as you like to say, because he sit in that chair. Because it's unrealistic for me to expect LBJ to be balls to the wall all 82 at age 35. So the same kind of criticism that Greek is facing, LeBron James faced in 2009 when they got bounced by Orlando, 2010 when they got bounced by Boston. Celtics. And Kobe was winning championships as the best player, finals MVP, and people were trying to say that LeBron was better than him. Now, me personally, yes, for an 82-game season, I want LeBron. Playoff series, give me Kobe. But Kobe at age 32, 33 couldn't sit in the chair for 82 games. You just couldn't.
So I think a lot of your argument, you are inserting age factor into it. And all right, so let me ask you guys this.
Yeah.
You take Giannis off the Bucks. Are the Bucks making the playoffs in the East? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
If the Nets made the playoffs with no Kyrie.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm thinking they're a 6 to 8 seed, right?
Maybe.
All right. Well, all right. If you take LeBron James off the Lakers, are they making the playoffs?
Can I answer that question in a specific way? Because I hate that. That's what LeBron fans always say. And it's like so annoying because what you have to understand Greek is more so a product of the game. LeBron is the game. So Greek is going to go. So your GM is going to go, and your GM is going to say, all right, we have Greek. He's a clear-cut best player. Let's surround him with this, and this. Whereas LeBron is so great of a player, and Jordan's had these privileges, Kobe's had these privileges, where they're able to say, work with their organization and say, listen, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. So obviously, if you're able to handpick who you want on your team, when you leave, it's gonna be shit, because not for nothing, they did it specifically designed for you. Not even thinking about you're thinking of the now.
So, all right, let's stay in that pocket, because I don't know if you just came up with that quote off the dome, but I loved it. Repeat it one more time. Greek is a product of the game, and LeBron James is the game.
Yeah.
I loved it. So just hearing that lets me know your value to an organization and a team, to me, is superior, of where they are going to you to know that no matter what you decide and players to put around you, you are going to elevate this to higher standards.
But I
now,
feel like that's
well, listen, I'll stop you there. I'll give Greek the benefit of the doubt that this year, especially with the heightened that he has the potential to leave, they're going to give him an opportunity to handpick, obviously in the confines of the salary cap and trades and contracts, of what type of team that he wants, and let's see if he does that cash shit. Because I
agree like that, Zim. I don't like that, because if you look at it, you could say, like, listen, Toronto was a bounce away from getting to the conference finals without Kawhi. So should that diminish him? If you talk about how when
Game 7,
when Kevin Durant would be sitting out, it's like when KD got hurt with the Warriors was chopping without him. Like, people like they're actually better without him, because they're just more familiar, and Steph's back, being the engine and stirring the drink. So it's like, you have to be very careful, because
the only reason why I apologize, I keep doing this. You guys do a better job of retaining.
It's fine.
Yeah, my bad. So I hear you, and I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying, this year, obviously on the court, he deserved back-to-back MVPs. I'm not even disputing that. But this year, we're able to really assess what is Greek and what he's not. Because just like you said, LBJ had an opportunity to pick the pieces around him. Kawhi Leonard this year had the opportunity to pick the pieces around him, and he failed at it. Kevin Durant and Kyrie, I'll put them in the same boat. They're doing the opportunity with the Nets. Curry had done this, but Curry is just a class act and a professional that he knows not to put all his business out there, and it does it in a respectful manner.
I wouldn't say Curry did that. That was a team that was homegrown, and they just
no. But obviously, I think he, if what is it, Lakem? Is that the owner's name? Whatever. He's gonna be like, hey, how do you feel about? And Draymond said it. They went to him and said, what do you think about bringing Kevin Durant? Like, obviously, you got to go to the star player.
Like any team, if you go,
yeah, I know, but if you have ego. And you know that
any team say KD.
Can I just ask this question? Like, I don't know what, like, if we looking at Boston, if we looking at Miami, the two teams still left playing in the finals, those are the two best organizations in the East. Talking about a GM and Danny Ainge and Pat Riley, a coach and Spoelstra and Brad Stevens.
Stay on topic.
Yeah, but
Greek, though.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it takes an organization to win a chip. Like, you need great talents, but you just said it takes an organization. You said when talent's even, the coach does make a big difference. And not for nothing, bro, like, Greek Freak, like, what more can he squeeze out of his ability? Like, he played, like, he is like the ultimate eraser on defense because he can block shots like a 7-footer and cover like a guard. And that's half the game. And then offensively, he's getting you 30 points a game and 6 assists. Like what? Like so, Bron had to figure out how to win. Kobe and Shaq had to figure out how to win. MJ, you get to a certain point in your career, you're 27, you're 28, you're 29. Now the mental's meeting the physical, and that's when you see a lot of guys win a chip.
And that's why I don't like about the league, because that's why I don't like about the narrative, because now LeBron's narrative is so strong, the kid don't even want to acknowledge his MVPs. You know what I'm saying? You know, and like, not for nothing, I never seen a star in the playoffs play under 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Like crazy to me. So he's not even like, I can understand if he's out there, like he's always, and it kind of looks like he's not even reached that level of like, you know, mentality yet where he knows like, yo, listen, I'm Greek freak. I run this shit. Like he's letting Coach Bud like determine everything that's going on. From what it seems like, how does he not play 40 minutes a game, over 40 minutes a game?
What do you guys think? I mean, I'm looking at. All right, so I'll put it like this. I think that LeBron is the second or third greatest player ever in the league history, and he does a good job of helping team build, and he's great for chemistry. But I mean, I'm watching him, and you talk about he's too cool for school. I don't think that's the thing. Like, listen, Bron is still great, still dominant, but he's not the athlete that he once was. So a lot of times when he's back,
No, I just seen this guy head above the rim, blocking shots.
He's not.
Takes down blocks. Alley-oops. Look at what he did yesterday.
I'm telling you, when you can't tell me that Bron is the same.
I just say this: you're comparing LeBron to LeBron.
I just watched him. I watched Game 7 when they beat Doc's Warriors. It's almost a different kind of player, bro.
He's asked to do like if you're making that statement, and the only way I can agree with you, if you're comparing LeBron James right now to the early ages of LeBron James.
No, what I'm saying is that,
but LeBron James compared still to the day to the NBA.
He's one of the best athletes in the league.
He's what?
He's still one of the best athletes in the league, but
thank you. That's all I'm saying. Just clarify that. Just clarify that.
I'm here to debate that. My thing is, if LeBron had Chris Middleton as his sidekick, DiVincenzo in the lineup, and George Hill, everybody would have said that team is god awful.
Yep.
That team is god awful. Like, get LeBron some help. And it's just because it's Greek that law.
But Sean, you know why LeBron James get that benefit of the doubt that he could take Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, because what he did when he got, you know, with that roster that he brought to the finals and got swept by the Spurs, and what he did to lose his third time losing a GSW when it was the 4th seed in the East and still made it to the Western Conference Finals.
He has Kevin before LeBron.
You see that you always do this. Now you're about to boost up Kevin Love like he's the next coming of Kevin McHale.
Was they not saying that he's the best power forward in the league? Was they not saying that?
Yeah,
Kevin Love the best power forward in the league. Like, this is what we're doing.
They were saying that.
They never said that.
They were saying that.
They said he was the best power forward in the league.
We talked about that all the time. It was hollow numbers. With the Timberwolves.
You know what's gonna happen too?
But he was still an all-star.
Josh, you know what's gonna happen? Kevin Love is gonna go to a team eventually that needs him, and we're gonna say, shit, that boy got game. And they're gonna say, they're gonna make a story. Oh, revitalized. He was depressed.
We know he got game.
Say, watch, mark my words.
But I'm saying, he was an all-star in Cleveland. He was a multiple all-star while he was on the Cavs.
I agree, but that particular year, there was the 4th seed, a depleted roster. I think Kevin Love get hurt? He missed some time the first couple of rounds of the playoffs.
Nah. That was the first in 2015.
No. I want to say.
Yo, but
He had a
listen,
concussion.
here's the thing, right?
He had concussion issues and stuff.
See, but everything don't just go by who's the best. Who just like, yo, all right. I think that Kevin Love is a better player than Chris. Kevin Love in his prime is better than Chris Middleton right now. And then talking about the ancillary pieces, the others. So you have guys like DiVincenzo, Lopez, and all these other guys who don't have that playoff experience. Where you're talking about Bron playing with Kevin Love and then having other pieces around him that made championship runs that know what it takes. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, I don't know, and we always do this, and this is what I notice, and it's unfortunate. This is what irks the shit out of me with you two is we back-to-back years the Bucks had the best record in the NBA, back to number one seed in the East. And now all of a sudden we're picking holes at their roster. Bud is getting chewed out and screwed because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Well, let me ask you a question.
It shows how great Greek Freak is, and he deserves it. But I hate when you guys do this.
So can I ask you a question? One question.
Now,
Can I ask you one question, please? Please.
Yep.
Can I ask you a question? Please. If LeBron James in 2010, when he lost to the Celtics, and he played under 40 minutes a game, or if any series LeBron plays under 40 minutes a game and they lose, what's going to happen to that coach?
All right, I'll answer your question. The coach will probably get ridiculed and or fired. But then do you ever ask yourself why he's only limited to this amount of minutes?
Why do you think he don't play under more than 40 minutes a game?
Maybe conditioning.
Maybe he gets a rebound and does a fast break every play. He can't be out of shape,
and he's using a lot of energy to do that.
So to the point where he can't play.
I don't know.
I don't know. So do you think Budenholzer should be held to the fire because of this minute?
I don't think he should be fired.
That's their system. That's their system that they've been working for the last 2 years. Budenholzer coming under the pop tree has emphasized don't strenuous, your star players with all this minutes. So it's a system that actually been working in championship and obviously best record in NBA. And then now all of a sudden when it doesn't come to the light because Greek gets exposed once again for lack of skills of shooting.
He don't have a lack of skill. Bro, he don't have a lack of skill. Stop that.
So how can I reword that, Josh? Josh, help me reword that. Help me reword that. Help me reword that.
I think if anything, I think the team got exposed because if I'm Greek, Greek Freak is basically a modern center. Basically, he like I'm not.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. There's he's like, a basketball player.
No, he's not. So
1 to 5.
No, but he can guard 1 to 5, and yes, he does have a little bit of skills. It's like he's not like this.
How he has a little bit of skills. You heard him, Dot? He has a little bit of skills.
No. I mean, but I'm not expecting Freak to bring the ball up.
That's what I'm saying, Josh. They compare everything to LeBron. LeBron is grown up.
No, LeBron has nothing to do with this.
Gotta be a
nothing
point guard
to do with
this. Nice. Like
no. LeBron has
right?
nothing to do with this. Let's just focus.
All right. So let me ask you this, right? So I think Greek Freak does deserve scrutiny instead of criticism, but like guys like James Harden, Russell Westbrook, playoff P, and guys who are like in their 30s, like to me, they don't get that same pass because they've shown it to us for like 10, 12 years now. They are who they are.
Rightfully so.
Obviously, when you're 24, 25, you're still a set your prime.
I agree. But when you get awarded, first of all, back-to-back MVPs, I'm sure there's less than 10 times that ever happened in NBA history.
Yeah.
Number 1 in the East. He's the 3rd or 4th player to ever win Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. And then when I say skill, I'm not saying he doesn't have any skill. Obviously, what he does is great. But as you can see, he has a lot of work in his game. You can't be less than 70% at the free throw line. You can't be less than 30% at the three-point line. And you can't have not a weak mid-range that's under 50%. Like, he has stuff that he needs to work on his game. And that is credit to him that you're still great, the MVP, and you can still get even better. Why is that a slight? Why do you get offense to that?
Slight because I don't like, when I look at him, I don't see like a KD or a LeBron or like these. I don't really think he's not really like a wing. He's a big, like, he does most of his damage in the paint. That's why I'm trying to compare it to like a Shaq, because that's what I see. I see a 20-20 Shaq. And the thing is, Shaq would have these great numbers, you know, high field goal percentage, and he's unstoppable in the paint. But they were still losing until Kobe became Kobe. It happens, bro. Like, he needs
a Kobe or D Wade for him to be successful. So you're basically saying him, so him by himself cannot get it done.
Who by himself ever got it done?
Bro, who by himself? Like, yo, the only dude to win a chip without like another like superstar player is like a Hakeem or Dirk. Them are the only two guys I can think of that won a chip without another.
So it could be done.
Superstar.
So it could be done. So it could be done.
It could be, but it's rare, bro.
It's rare.
Look
how in 2011. Look how shocked you were.
Yeah, but I was shocked as hell.
Oh yeah, Miami versus.
And for them to win, it took a collapse by like the best player in the series. That Bron just collapsed. So listen, I think that Bron. I think Bron's gonna win his third different organization, but I think that we got to really appreciate Greek Freak in the way. Like, so this brings me to my point is I think that the people that commentate during the game, people that are on TV, I think they're way too. Wow, Jason Tatum scoreless at halftime.
Yeah. That's
I think
unacceptable.
Tatum's in the cool crowd, so they ain't gonna kill him how they would.
Yeah.
I think that people that cover the league are too negative about the players.
I agree 100%. I think there's cliques like this, and I'm not gonna. Zim gonna get mad, but I'm not gonna say like there's people when people pay. There's people that's friendly with certain people, and like when you don't. One thing about sports that we all can agree, sports can be very cliquey. You know, what I'm saying? It can be very cliquey, and if you're not in that. And it would happen to Curry for a while. If you're not in that in crowd, if you're not like, you know, with the specific guys who's considered, they'll always try to find a flaw or why somebody else is better than you. Like they did everything in their power this summer to say how Dame is better than Curry and can do what Curry has done. Like they just always downplay anything he's ever done. So it's just, but they'll never do that to certain. Like KD was in that light because they weren't happy he went to Golden State. Now he's
Sean. Can you get to what the question was? You're going on a tangent. Josh asked about announcers and players, and you took the time to talk about Curry.
Cool crowd, man. If you're not in that,
so let me rephrase that. So sometimes I'll be watching a game, and I'm listening to like a Reggie Miller. I'm listening to Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy. And I'm like, damn, bro, do you guys even like basketball?
I could tell you what Mark Jackson going to say, but 10 times before he says it. I always know.
I think it's this. And I think you guys always forget to be an athlete, to be someone who makes it to the NBA. First of all, you're egotistical, you're centered, and you're focused on what you did and trying to big up your name. So what it tends to happen, and I was watching a clip today. Kenny the Jet Smith was on the Bleacher Report podcast, and, you know, they were discussing how he has LeBron James at number 10 in his all-time ranking, and he has Kobe Bryant at number 11. And the next thing out of his mouth is, it's so much easier to score nowadays. And we hear the Kenny Jet Smith, the Reggie Miller, and Reggie Miller the other day said, if I played in this generation, I would have averaged 30. And then KD commented CAC. Like, you know, I don't know if you guys witnessed that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So it's more of these guys are egotistical. So they have to sit there, give praise to other men, but then try to remind the audience of what they did, what they used to do back in their time. And it happens in every single sport. They do it with football in regards to these QBs in the passing yards and how the QB's protected. So I don't view it as hate. it's just human nature, and it's speaking on the game,
I'm
and I
gonna
don't view
push
it as
back
hate.
on that. I'm gonna push back on that. I was watching the Chargers versus Kansas City Chiefs game. Tony Romo is Mr. Positivity. Like Justin.
But that's him. He doesn't have cash shit. He doesn't have accolades to sit on to.
No, but what I'm saying is that like I'm listening to Tony Romo. I watched the game with Mark Schlereth. I'm listening to Chris Collinsworth commentate the Patriots Seahawks game. And they're so positive about the league because in order to build the league, people have to have a high view of the players. And like Charles Barkley is a funny dude, and I love that TNT show, but Shaq and him are so negative towards the newer players. Like Derek Coleman was all right, but like to compare Anthony Davis to Derek Coleman or Shaq saying that, yo, it's so easy to score 28 points. All you gotta do is 7 points a quarter. Give me that. And I'm like, Shaq, like what are you talking about? And I'm listening to Jeff Van Gundy. I'm like, bro, do you even like basketball? Do you? Like, even though Webber sucks and Mark Jackson's annoying as fuck, at least they're not shitting on the dudes who are playing the game.
No, I agree, and I definitely hear it, and I just chalk it up to, you know, I don't know, like I was good in sports, but never to that sense. But you know, even like when I'm talking to DJ, I'm like, yo, when we, you know, at practice, we ran hard. We did sprints. There was no water breaks. There was no this, you know, we have laws now that we have to give players drink breaks every 15 minutes if the temperature degrees is at X, Y, and Z. It's just different times, and it's just human nature. And I think you know, in me, I'll admit, I hate some of the slight. They slight the players of what they're seeing on the court, and I think that is the biggest issue. But I just feel like it's almost like during my day, during my times when I played, and they're not going to break that habit, and I feel like they have to ish on them to try to remember, and especially look at the players that you know, the people that you said, besides Shaq. Charles Barkley, unsuccessful ring-wise. Reggie Miller, unsuccessful ring-wise. I'm trying to think what Jeff Van Gundy, coaching, unsuccessful in that regard. Mark Jackson, you know, had a nice run with the GSW, never really got the credit. So, you know, even though he's mostly positive anyway, God fair admit. So you got to sometimes see who the messenger is and why their premise is that way. And Chris Webber, he's on some like, man, I better chill out because I'm trying to get to the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? And get those votes. So that is, it's just human type nature of, this is the reason why I wasn't that successful, because I didn't have it as easy as these guys had it. And that's how I view it.
I don't know, man. I just get like, it's to a point like, dang, like I want to hear you talk positive about Greek Freak or LeBron or this one or that one. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I think they're actually damaging people's view of these players, because the thing is, like, I can listen to like a Reggie Miller and like, yeah, like Reggie was nice, but he got a lot of juice because he had a lot of big series with the Knicks in the 90s. Like Reggie Miller wasn't like that. Like he was good, but like his image is higher than what he actually was.
And if you listen to them, like if you watch some old games, they're not shitting on Kobe, MJ, Duncan, KG like they do in some of these dudes to this day. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I don't know. I have a big gripe with that, and that's why sometimes when we're all at our separate houses watching the games, Zine would be like, "Yo, did you just hear that?" And I'd be like, "Nah, I got my headphones on. Like I'm not even listening to it."
But with social media now and everything, and a buzz and like a tweet, like dudes is trying to like raise their status and create like wow moments.
So political. That's why I don't take it seriously. That's why these players don't take it seriously. This is why they clap back.
No, I think that the players be like
they clap back. Yeah, they clap back.
I think that Draymond Green is gonna be a great analyst, because he's able to give you, like, he really breaks the game down in a, like, you can tell like Kenny was a smart player, but he doesn't, like, I think Kenny, Shaq, and Barkley, they don't want to give in to how the game is actually being played now. Shaq's like, yeah, they need to post up more. Barkley's like, yeah, they need to post up more when it's a pick and roll 3-point league. You know what I mean? it's good to have a post-up game. Draymond was on that board. He was like, I'm like, damn, Draymond, like, no wonder why he's able to stay in the league at 6'3", playing center. You know,
that's why I really want Zim to listen. He don't listen when Draymond's on TNT. That's why I want him to listen.
He's on there once a month. Like I don't, when I catch him, I catch him, man. But Draymond, you already know how he bandwagoned his way to the top, man. But he got exposed last year. Anyway, on to the next one.
So so you guys are predicting who to win the championship?
Lakers.
I plead the fifth. I'm not answering that. You're not getting me on
Hopefully the Heat can go on a run, but the Lakers.
Yo, I want America to know that Zim, you were special. You was ducking smoke all last week. You was ducking smoke.
I was active in the chat, heavy.
You was ducking. I told him about coming here on this platform.
Yeah. I was.
If we did a podcast the day after the Clippers lost, I'd have been on your ass.
Yeah, it was tough. I needed a good 7 days to get over that. That was tough.
Really quickly, man, before we get out of here, is there anything standing out to you about the NFL season? I'm going to say one thing before y'all jump in. Shout out to my guy, Cam Newton, black quarterback in New England, playing for my favorite team. Playing well, looking healthy. I'm loving it.
The NFL right now, I'm just happy it's back. I love what they're doing. I guess these rapid COVID tests is working. I even like the little fake crowd noise. Like when I'm just watching the game, it actually sounds like it's lit in there until they showed the kickoff. You know what I mean? Then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot it's empty. But real quick, there is something to not having preseason games, and it is something to this whole COVID and being in quarantine. I don't feel like the guys was able to get there full 4 to 5 months of conditioning and strength and endurance like that, and coming into camp having 3.5 weeks and then a game. You could tell by some of the team's product is not up to date, and then obviously all these injuries of torn ACLs, et cetera. But NFL's back. The Colts are 1-1. I'm very excited in regards to that, and I'm happy for all the success of these African American quarterbacks. It's dope to see. And Tyrod Taylor, go get your money, man. Be careful. I think they try to poke you up on purpose.
When I said that, you try to play me.
No. You made it seem like the coaches try to do some backdoor bench him like he sucked. No, that's what I was thinking you were saying.
I was like benched because it was like people saying he's never getting a job back.
Well, yeah, no, because I seen him on the bench on CBS because you could tell Tony Romo was shocked. And, they going to tell the announcers, whatever. But he was on the bench, like, holding his chest. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Like, what in warm-up can possibly happen? Hurt your chest, but now it all comes like that cortisone shot. It's a big needle that they put in you and try to get to, so you're one wrong false move with that. So if he doesn't come back or get benched, I'm suing. But I'm glad the NFL's back, man. And fantasy football's back. FanDuel. I'm killing it. I love FanDuel. I can't lie. The last 3 weeks, a little bit over a rack with the winnings and the side
basketball,
bets.
Football,
it's a blessing. I be trying to tell y'all I'm the guru. You guys just think I just be talking the talk. And now, Z's on a hot streak. Send me the apps. I'm like, man, you got to study the game. You got to take some of those chains off and study the game.
I want to, first of all, that chat is crazy.
Sean put us in some dangerous ways, man.
What you say?
He said I put y'all in some dangerous things.
Like, what you do? You put me in the most unruly chat in the history of chats.
Seriously,
Sports, man. Sports bring the worst out of people.
That dude Nems had me laughing 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah, he's funny. yo, who started calling me sensei? Was it Ave or Nems?
Nems.
Yo, Nems is
He's funny, man. But nah, shout out to everybody in that group chat.
Facts.
Ookie,
Hopefully I win some
Avery.
money this weekend, man. Ever since Josh came in the chat, I've
Right. I noticed that too. I noticed that. You're in the bottom.
been real.
Yo, listen, man. It's funny, man, because like I would never watch that Saints Raiders game in a million years. But I had Jared Cook playing. I'm like,
You like, yeah, it makes it fun. You want to see guys going.
Facts.
Yeah. But some of them dudes in that, yo, listen, man, gonna have to make way for some other guys to come in and take some side bets if you ain't betting. That's all.
Yeah, I'm telling you, side bets is the wave, man. You
Yeah,
can
no, I
still
see
cash
you.
out. You see?
I see you.
You know what I mean? But shout out to everybody out there watching, man. Honestly, man,
That's facts.
2020 just been crazy. At this point, it's just about keeping your spirits up, taking care of you and yours. And at the end of the day,
listen, if the Lakers win this championship,
they're gonna.
I'm going crazy. That report was just a sample.
LeBron James, I can say, yeah.
I really spared you, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. I really spared you on that bad report because I had 2 or 3. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, I got about 6 clips in there. I heard zing.
As long as you, because you was talking the most about the clip.
I was, and like I said, man, I still believe in Kawhi. I still really,
You got a mohawk?
What's that?
You got a mohawk?
I got a frohawk, man. No lineup, none. Yeah. My hair is high, man. What I tell you, I'm not cutting my hair until they arrest the cops and Breonna Taylor. Remember I mentioned that in the podcast?
Yes. I have a question for you guys because you guys would know this better than me. DJ Academics said that he feels that if Lil Baby can get the right #1 single, like a Roddy Ricch type The Box, in the urban community in the United States of America, Baby will surpass Drake. Not worldwide, not in the suburbs, not pop-wise, but he said if he can get a The Box type single, Lil Baby will surpass Drake in the urban community. What say you?
Like now, of body of work.
Like now,
Oh yeah, I can see like Lil Baby, because eventually Drake's gonna not be Drake anymore. So I can see that. I mean, I can see that happening. If there's any artist to do it, it's probably gonna be Lil Baby. I can't think of any other artists that would be able to do it.
Well, I'll say this, and I put it in one of the chats that we have. Right now, Lil Baby is 1 single away, and he's right. A box, a lollipop, something to that nature where he's on his Lil Wayne little run right now. Obviously not as much number success-wise because it was way different back then, but just how he's being viewed as an artist with the features and everything, he's in this pedestal right now where he could be the Lil Wayne of this little 4 or 5 year generation, and I think he has the ability. But commercial success-wise, even though as much as we love Lil Baby, I still have to put Roddy Ricch ahead of him because of The Box and that album and all the accolades it won, and that going platinum as well. I still got Roddy Ricch commercial-wise over Lil Baby. He needs The Box.
I don't know because that song with what's that song like We Paid? That song became like they don't stop playing it.
Yeah, you're right. In the hood, but not commercially. Not #1, 9 weeks in a row, #1, The Box. That that's tough. That's tough.
So
what award he win? Did he win a Grammy? No.
Maybe a
album of the year, BET Awards. No, it's something like American Music Awards or the Billboard charts. One of those.
I can see a Billboard. But yeah, I had to end on that because I wouldn't know because I'm not.
Yo, Don, you notice how geeked up and happy Josh is? Academics is like looking cool now, his.
Hold up. I
Yo,
told y'all.
he was about to ride on me yesterday. I'm like,
sense. I'm like, what are you
no,
talking about?
listen, I'll admit I didn't watch any of the clips. I was just going off the tweets and I was just breaking down when I see these key words. When I watch the clip, I'm like, oh, this is a little bit out of pocket. But, you know, when someone says shit sweet, shit is sweet. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I just think that, and like to see like him talk about it today, like, yeah, Quavo called me, Offset called me. I know that that like the Migos are reaching right now because they're Frio.
but it's okay to do that. Like, my thing is, it's okay to get criticized and someone critique your music, or, you know, I don't think they say fell off, but, you know, Academics and Wayno's basically like, hey, if you guys don't come with it, you guys might be in the back burner. And I actually did like Academics' idea of start going solo careers, man. Not for nothing, people ain't, you know, messing with Takeoff like that. You know what I mean? Quavo, you know, he does all his hooks and features, and not for nothing, Offset got a nice little solo body feature pocket that he can go into as well. And not for nothing, regardless, people gonna listen to him because they want to see if he's gonna say anything about Cardi B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm about to go catch this second half and really indulge in this.
It getting smoked, about to be.
Who's getting smoked?
Celtics is down. Celtics are down 10 right now.
All right, man. I gotta go check this out.
All right.